Hallo iedereen and let's Dutch and go. So today I want to talk to you about definite articles and how they work. But before I get to that, we need to debunk a myth here, guys. Let's sit around the campfire and let's really talk this one out. Definite articles. What is it about them in Dutch that makes it so difficult? Well, how do you know whether it's de or het and how important it is? That's exactly what I want to talk to you about. So, on the one hand, it depends very much on your purpose, why you're learning Dutch. If you're learning Dutch because it's just a hobby for you, it's casual, your partner is Dutch and you want to hear or understand his or her conversations with his or her mother on the phone, you know, make sure that they're not saying anything bad about you or whatever like that, you know, fair enough. Articles don't really matter all that much because the truth of the matter is whether you use de or het in front of a word, it's not going to cause any difficulty in you being understood all that much, especially not if you're a beginner. Right, so that is if you're studying Dutch as a hobby or because you want to travel in Belgium or the Netherlands. Then I would, as a rule, I would say if you always use de, you're going to get it right roughly 70 to 80% of the times. Right. However, there's the other side, the other group of students, I imagine, who want to learn Dutch because they need to work in Belgium or the Netherlands and because they need to or have to do an official test or exam. And for you guys, it's specifically important to really study the article together with the noun because unfortunately on these tests, they really do check whether you know the articles of the words and it could cost you points, of course, if you make mistakes with that. So it's important to take that into account, and already when you're studying a vocabulary list, you know, like the good students that you are, I know you guys are, you study the de or het together with the word, and then that work is already done. However, whether a word has de or het essentially has little to no impact on the meaning of the word, and will also only really influence, for example, adjectives, so the form of the adjectives, in also a rather minimal way or a rather superficial way. So in itself, it's not super crucial to get it right most of the times or get it right all the times, but however, if you really are studying Dutch because you want to do an official test, then I would advise you to really already incorporate the correct article together with your words, with the nouns, because that will save you a lot of trouble and headaches in the future. Right? Right. Good. Having gotten all of that out of the way, let's now talk a little bit about de and het and when to use one or the other. Roughly speaking, 60 to 70% of the words with in Dutch are with de, take the article de in the singular form, and the rest, 30% of the words in Dutch, take the article het. All of the nouns in plural will have de. So that means, for example, we could say het boek, but in plural would be de boeken. Het huis, de huizen. Het idee, de ideeën, etc. So, there you go. So that's the first thing that we need to know. Second thing, when is it one or when is it the other? Unfortunately, I mean, there are many rules, of course, that maybe you'll be able to find on websites and stuff like that, but most of these rules really are not that useful for beginners. And this is, of course, who this video is directed towards, beginners. So, of course, if you're a beginner and you really want to, you know, speak Dutch well, unfortunately my advice to you would be just study it together with the words. For het, there's only two rules. First of all, diminutives, so meaning when the process of turning nouns into little nouns. So for example, het zonnetje, het huisje, het kindje, het mannetje, het boekje, etc. All of these nouns, all of these diminutives we would recognize by the je at the ends, and they would take het as the article. Second case in which they would take het as an article would be languages. So it would be het Nederlands, het Frans, het Chinees, het Spaans, het Koreaans, etc. However, the context in which we would really use a definite article is rather limited, except for maybe when we're talking about the language as a whole. So for example, general tendencies within language, we would never really put the het in front of it. So for example, het Nederlands is een mooie taal. Dutch is a beautiful language. In that case, you would use it. There's also nothing or no one that would hold you back from just saying Nederlands is een mooie taal and leave out the het. So there you go. And that's it for het. Everything else just learn together with the word. High frequency words like huis and boek are also with het. Het huis, het boek. Might serve you well to already know that as well. Then, when do we use de? There are basically roughly four situations, four cases in which we use de. So, drinks, de koffie, de thee, de melk, with the exceptions of het water, het bier, het sap, right? There is, by the way, no rule, no grammatical rule in Dutch that doesn't have an exception, and you can count on that with no exceptions. Second one, the second case in which you would use de in front of the noun would be people and professions. So, for example, de man, de vader, de oma, de oom, or de ingenieur, de informaticus, de verkoper, de bakker, etc. With the exception of het kind, het meisje. Het meisje also again being a diminutive. The child, the girl. Right. Third case in which we would almost always have de would be means of transport. So for example, de auto, de taxi, de tram, de trein. With the exception of het vliegtuig and het schip. Okay? But that means automatically whatever other means of transport that you might think of, they will always be with de. Whatever other persons you can think of, except for the exceptions that I've just listed, will always be with de. So that already facilitates our job substantially. Final category, only de would be fruit. Fruit is always and only with de. So de banaan, de appel, de peer, de sinaasappel, de aardbei, etc. All of the fruits are with de as well. Good. So I hope this video helped you to understand when we would use het, when we use de, and also helped to dispel the myths on the impact that de or het has on the meaning of the word and what it means for you as a student as well. Finally, in the description down below, you would also find some links that would be helpful for you to determine the right article in a very efficient way with both a website and an app. So, because I am just like that. Thank you. Graag gedaan. So, leave a comment in the comment box down below if you thought this video was helpful. Thank you so much for your attention. En tot de volgende keer. Dag!